Unfortunately, we found out that our flight to Greece was postponed. Because of the strike there is in Israel, because of the kidnapped people who are held by the Hamas in Gaza. I feel that I support this strike because really all of the people in Israel want our friends and brothers to come back from Gaza.
We are striking. It's a very hard word for physicians who are here to take care for the life and the well-being of our patient. But we can't stand aside, and that's why we came into a strike.
Massive protests swept Israel on Sunday after the death of 6 hostages in Gaza. Protesters are increasingly frustrated over the failure of Israel's leadership to secure a ceasefire deal that would free captives in Gaza, who have now been held for nearly 11 months. Israeli media estimated up to 500,000 people demonstrated across Jerusalem, Tel Aviv and other cities, demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu do more to bring home the remaining 101 hostages, about a third of whom Israeli officials estimate have died. Edith Tepperson blames Netanyahu for what has unfolded.
I think we have a criminal government who lets the hostages be murdered only for the sake of the coalition. And we have a prime minister who doesn't think of the good of a country, but only of his own good.
In Tel Aviv, police officers clashed with demonstrators as they urged them to stop blocking traffic. In Jerusalem, protesters blocked streets and demonstrated outside of Netanyahu's house. It was only earlier the same day that the Israeli military announced the recovery of the hostages' bodies. They say the bodies were found in a tunnel in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, as the Israeli Health Ministry confirmed they were murdered by Hamas terrorists in a number of shots at close range. By the end of Sunday, Labour leaders called for a one-day general strike on Monday. Netanyahu, who faces growing calls to end nearly 11 months of war, said Sunday that Israel would not rest until those responsible were caught, while Hamas officials blamed the Israeli government for the deaths because of its refusal to sign a ceasefire deal. Families of the deceased hostages criticized the government for delays in negotiations, while US President Joe Biden expressed his anger and vowed accountability for Hamas. Negotiations mediated by the US, Qatar and Egypt have not yet succeeded despite ongoing efforts. Meanwhile, Israel and Hamas agreed to pause fighting in areas of Gaza while a polio vaccination campaign begins after a baby last month was partially paralyzed by the virus, the first case in the territory in 25 years. Israel's assault on Gaza began after Hamas and other militants killed about 1,200 people and took about 250 hostages in attacks on Israel on October the 7th, according to Israeli tallies. Since then, Israel's offensive has leveled much of the enclave of 2.3 million people, and the Gaza Health Ministry says at least 40,000 Palestinians have been killed. Displaced people are living in dire conditions with inadequate shelter and a hunger crisis.